Hello everybody and welcome back to Donut Like, Donut Read. I am Adam at your service, and with me today I have Julius.
Hey.
And Clemens.
Hello there.
So, I'm not going to sound too happy to say this, but we have a September 11th story today. Because so many people decided they needed to make fan fiction about September 11th.
Yeah, every year we need to repeat the message, don't do this shit, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
and
if
our
you
research...
did this in 2006, may I suggest buying a time machine, going into the time ball like Princess Illumiana, whatever she was called, did, and going back in time to undo your actions, please.
in our research for this video, we found a fanfiction.net community called Fanfiction about September 11th, which should tell you everything about this site.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah, you know, and I'll give this story credit. It's different than the normal formula for September 11th stories.
Yeah, I read a bit ahead, and yeah, I agree. I just don't know if I like the different thing it did, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'll say this. It breaks the mold. Does not mean... It's actually... And it's much better written than the last September 11th story we read about Edward not knowing what September 11th was from Twilight. And doesn't make it good, though. It has other kinds of problems.
Yeah, in the beginning of our channel, it took us a bit of a while because Adam was like, dude, have you not heard about 9/11? And I was like, 9/11? What's that? and Adam had to explain it to me. It's a very common thing that happens very often.
Yeah. I will say this, actually. I'm actually surprised they didn't go the standard route, because Starfire being from space would have been the perfect character to say, what is 9/11? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the author didn't want to do that. They went a different route. Starfire's not even here, so... Okay. It's called September 11th by Kuthian Moonleaf. Somebody want to take that description?
The reaction of Raven as he discovers the Twin Towers in the USA were attacked. Slight Ray Rob. One shot.
Maybe don't make their 9/11 story a slight ship.
So
that's
Ray
a little
Rob
weird.
Is Ray Rob Raven Robin?
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
I guess it's kind of weird to...
Like,
why wouldn't it be Ra Rob? Why is it Ray Rob?
And I don't even know if it's... I don't even know if this
Raven,
this fandom has ship.
Whatever.
I'm betting money that deep in the Pokemon fandom there is a 9/11 fic that is anti-Pearl shipping, and it has Ash doing the 9/11 attack himself just because they hate him being shipped with someone.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, Raven stared in horror at the television.
Robin!
She shouted, her voice slipping from its usual monotone to show her distress.
Robin, turn the TV on! They hit the Pentagon, Robin! Okay, no, that's not... It just says Robin. Just had to make that reference.
What's wrong, Raven?
Robin asked, running into the room. She shook her head, pointing to the TV screen. A picture of two pillars of smoke joining into one was being shown.
What happened?
What happened? The Twin Towers were hit. Robin, there are thousands of people in there. We have to go help.
Raven said. Her distress, I guess that's wound its way through their bond to hit Robin like a large brick. Yeah,
great,
that's a
metaphor.
Fun Americanism here. Wound and wound are spelled the same, so...
I just like wound its way through their bond to hit Robin like a large brick. That's so... What a clunky sentence.
Yeah. Wound its way through their bond. I think that's also because they share a bond in the TV show after she mind links with him in an episode. That becomes a plot point.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Raven, we can't do anything. We can't get to New York from here. All we can do is watch.
It's not like we're superheroes or something. Let's just watch this shit.
Yeah, Robin told her. It is one of those things... We talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about it in a video where it's hard to put 9/11 in the context of superhero media because
and
you would think that superheroes...
Perhaps you shouldn't.
Yeah, and this is why. I think it was Spooky who might have talked about this. I can't remember who was talking about, like, how comics handled this sort of thing. But, yeah, it does create this issue of why aren't the superheroes doing anything? Maybe you shouldn't write this kind of story if you can't do that.
It's also...
You know?
It's also if you have a world where superheroes and supervillains exist and, like, what would be horrific attacks in the real world is just part of the course. Like, if you watch, like,
Unfortunately.
I don't know, Batman the Animated Series, and there's, like, every other Tuesday is, like, Joker sends a toxic gas all over the city and everyone's affected. And it's like, if 9/11 happened in that context, would it even have the same weight on those people? Like, there's a real disconnect there.
Yeah, let's just... Maybe we should steer clear of that subject. There's interesting things to talk about there, but at the same time, we probably shouldn't do that here.
Yeah. We have to do something. I can't just sit here and watch this.
Raven insisted. Cyborg entered the room, hearing Raven shouting.
What's wrong?
I like how you made him into a literal robot. Beep boop.
It's me responding. The World Trade Centers have been hit.
Robin responded.
World Trade Centers been hit. Big deal.
Yeah, the multiple of them. The buildings, I guess.
What were they hit with exactly?
Was that supposed to be Cyborg?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, again, the author's formatting is not bad. And there are not really any spelling mistakes, but that might have missed it there.
2 planes were taken over by terrorists and crashed into the towers. A third hit the Pentagon. A fourth was retaken by the passengers, but it crashed in a field in Pennsylvania.
Raven replied.
Robin, why can't we go help? Oh. Help with what?
Beast Boy asked, walking nonchalantly over to the couch and reaching for the remote. Raven slapped his hand away fiercely.
Ow! Why do you want to watch smoke?
Maybe let's not make jokes like this in your 9/11 story? It's a little weird.
He's just such a dunce that he, like, doesn't get that smoke means fire. Like, he doesn't get that it's a disaster. He thinks it's just a funny program where you watch smoke for 10 hours.
Yeah, I mean, the Steel Donut did cover a story where people were watching home videos of 9/11.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is, like, this isn't our conventional clueless character asked about 9/11 10 years after the fact. This is 3 clueless characters wonder about 9/11 back to back while it's happening.
Yeah, and then one sane person who has the... You know what, the obvious response of, hey, we're superheroes, maybe we should help the people that are dying right now? And everyone else is like, whoa, what's that? What?
Yeah. We'll talk about that more. That comes up more later on. We'll discuss it.
That's the World Trade Center's up in smoke, idiot.
Raven hissed.
I want to help the people trapped in there, Robin. Why can't I?
You won't get there in time. And you are too upset right now to use your power successfully.
I wonder why she would be upset.
Yeah, Robin yelled. I mean, it is, in her character, she has to keep herself emotionally stable for her to use her powers well, because she's... Yeah, but... So he makes a good point, but at the same time, let's not do anything, even though we have a rocket ship that can take us across the country, but okay.
No, we don't get there in time. And I guess if we don't stop the towers from collapsing or something, then we might as well not bother, because it's like not there are maybe people in the rubble or something.
Yeah, we'll discuss that again. We'll talk about that more later, because there's a lot to say there.
Okay.
Yeah, Raven slapped him. She didn't know what possessed her to do it, probably anger, because of how careless he's sounding,
Yeah.
but she slapped him.
Don't ever tell me what I can do with my powers. Those people are dying, Robin. Maybe you don't want to help them, but I do.
She hissed. She raised her hands to teleport, and Robin grabbed onto her at the last minute.
You can teleport, and yet you say, "Oh, we won't get there in time."
They acknowledge that later, but yeah,
Okay.
it is. Yeah, I don't know how often she teleported in the show, but whatever. Desperate times call for desperate measures. They teleported to New York just in time to see the North Tower collapse. Raven turned to Robin, hiding her face from the sight. He held her close, watching the tower and hearing screams from people inside before they were crushed. Ugh. He closed his eyes, turning away as well.
Ray, take us home. There's nothing we can do here.
Shut up! No! Oh.
Yeah, I guess if the towers collapse, there can't be any survivors. Why would there be survivors? It's not like there were people on the ground or something.
Yeah.
No,
It's
just
not that there
go
are people,
home.
yeah, people who were trapped, and also so many first responders and people who helped volunteer during that time. A lot of them had long-term health issues because of all the smoke and everything that got into their lungs. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
you
let's
could
not
do
help
something.
them out.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do.
Yeah. Again, this is why you shouldn't write a superhero 9/11 story.
I wonder
just
why
probably need to be-
Raven was upset at Robin.
Yeah.
He's such a nice person. Such a stable individual.
Yeah. Robin whispered in her ear. She nodded and just managed to focus enough power to send them home. Raven sank onto the couch, her head in shaking hands.
They died.
She whimpered.
We couldn't save them. They all died.
Barely managing to hold back tears, she fled from the room.
I think Cyborg might actually be completely robot because how many people were killed, Rob?
How would you know? They just
he
watched
wouldn't.
the towers collapse. How would you know?
Cyborg asked.
And you
The
didn't
remote
help
was-
with the rescue efforts or anything.
They just wanted to watch the smoke, apparently. That's what Beast Boy thought they wanted to do. The remote was held in his limp right hand, probably to keep Beast Boy from changing the channel. God damn it, Beast Boy.
Yeah, he
Why do
wants
they
to
always
watch his, I don't know, his comedy special. I don't know about...
Yeah.
I never watched Teen Titans. I don't know what Beast Boy's into.
Yeah, probably that.
We didn't stay long enough to find out. We got there just as the North Tower fell.
Robin said softly. He couldn't manage to use a regular tone of voice.
I'm going to talk to Raven.
He knocked on her door apprehensively.
Ooh.
Would she let him in? What if she didn't? Would he force his way? How? No!
Why is that even
Bro.
a thought?
Give her space! If she doesn't answer the door, leave her alone! What an asshole. His thoughts were interrupted by the door sliding open with a soft hiss. Why is everything hissing
Even
in this story?
even the door is mad at him.
Yeah, she had she had her spooky doors of the tower. They make spooky noises whenever they get opened. Raven lay curled up on her bed, uncharacteristic tears falling down her cheeks.
That's my
Her
new
sadness
album
and
name,
pain.
Uncharacteristic Tears.
Uncharacteristic.
That's gonna be the next My Chemical Romance album. After Ordinary Weapons, there will be Uncharacteristic Tears.
Her sadness and pain hit Robin when the door opened, leaving him reeling.
We didn't come in time.
Came Raven's soft voice.
They died because we didn't come in time.
Robin sighed. He didn't know how to deal with this different Raven.
You tried. I would have let it go just watching it on the news. I forgot that you could teleport. I'm sorry.
At least the author acknowledged it?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I forgot that I had powers. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, The only reason I could think of why he would say I would just stay home and watch would be the idea of if they thought Jump City would be targeted by terrorists as well. At that point, it makes sense for at least, like, somebody to stay behind. But yeah, it's like, we're not going to do anything. We are so apathetic about this. He walked over to her bed and sat behind her, stroking her hair softly. Normally, she didn't like contact from people, but this wasn't the normal Raven, and it certainly wasn't a normal situation.
It's awful. I feel everyone's worried. So many people are wondering if another plane is going to hit Jump City next. So many people are upset at what happened. The children are just confused. I feel it all, Robin. It's all so strong today because of this attack.
Raven mumbled.
The terrorists aren't going to get away with it.
Robin said fiercely.
We'll get them, and then they'll pay. Don't worry.
They'll play.
Oh, God, Jesus.
No! Again, this author doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That's a pretty big one.
We'll get them, and then they'll play.
God damn it.
This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and the terrorists are punished by playing Raid. Jesus, I shouldn't make the joke.
It's okay. We'll just keep going. Keep rolling.
Don't worry, we'll fix everything.
Raven shook her head.
You can't give those people their lives back. You can't give survivors their loved ones back. Nothing will be fixed.
She brushed her tears away and curled into a tighter ball. Her cloak covered her whole body and hung off the edge of the bed lifelessly.
We'll get back at them then. The president won't just let this go.
Oh no.
We'll fight the country that did this and win the war. Yeah, because it's 100% confirmed that the whole country was behind these terrorists. It's not possible that these terrorists acted on their own.
Confirmed that the country was involved in this at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
I was
a
gonna
little
make,
bit tasteless.
I didn't know this would show up because at the paragraph before that I thought about making a joke about, oh, we'll fix this, we'll start a war over bullshit reasons.
And then...
then the story made it explicit for me.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
The story
I'm not
made the
touch
joke
this one
for
anymore.
me, except that it wasn't a joke.
Robin replied.
You promise? I love war in the Middle East.
Jesus.
I love destabilizing the Middle East. It's my favorite thing to do. Now everything
apparently,
will go again.
Yeah, apparently Robin has a lot of influence with George Bush, too. Apparently. You promise, because she knows he can do it. She knows he has the connections. Raven asked. Her anxiety washed over Robin, and he found himself nodding.
I promise. They won't get away with this way. Even if I have to find the person myself.
Yeah. Robin said, yeah, I have no words. I'm just kind of lost. He turned to the small TV Raven kept in her room. It was dusty, but he wiped the dust off.
Want me to turn this on and we'll watch what's going on in here?
Raven nodded, so he turned to a news channel. Raven held out a hand, and a cup of coffee and a cup of tea appeared in her room, both steaming hot. Robin sat down next to her, and together they watched the progress of the firefighters trying to save... This is getting worse. Everyone, while they sipped their drinks and took comfort in each other's presence. Downstairs, the other three Titans tried to pretend all was normal. Ugh, I don't remember this part. This is worse than I remembered. Even though a feeling of sorrow floated through the tower, attaching itself to everyone.
Man, if only there were superheroes that could help the firefighters. Too bad that's not the case.
Yeah, again, it's... No attacks came that day, as if even the villains were watching what was happening with bated breath. Raven kept glancing upwards as if seeing through the building to the sky above and looking for an airplane about to crash into the tower. None came, though, so she calmed down about that. Once night fell, 3/5 of the Titans fell asleep in the living room, not wanting to be alone, and the birds fell asleep in Raven's room. I hate when they do that. They use that, the birds. The television still replaying that morning's tragic events. Okay, now we get the author's patriotic speech.
Yeah, but just Jesus falling asleep to watching 9/11, like...
Yeah. September 11th, the United States would later go to war, and the superheroes would back them all the... So they will do something. No, whatever. I can't process. Though they stayed out of the actual war. What did
you
they do?
think they backpedaled later when everyone was suddenly... When every politician pretended, oh, I wasn't for the war actually, when people found out that it was bullshit, do you think they backpedaled as well?
Probably.
Oh, we actually didn't believe in the war in Iraq.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said they backpedaled as soon as the government considered sending them to the war. When they were suddenly
That
like,
would have
nah,
also been great.
we're not so behind the war.
Yeah. This is literally a plot point in Captain America Civil War, which is a good movie, and you're better off watching that than watching this. If you turned off this video right now and went and watched that movie instead, none of us would blame you. The day embedded itself in everyone's mind for a long time, though they tried to get on with their normal lives. September 11th, the one day that the Titans saw a side of Raven they had never seen before, because they've never seen her show emotions, ever, in the show, or the comics.
Guess not. I guess I didn't watch it, so...
Yeah. I guess we can't prove that they can't prove that otherwise, so, you know.
Yeah.
The side filled with desperation to save people, the side that could lose control, yet not blow anything up. Oh, weird. I don't like the way they phrased that. September 11th, the day Robin realized his fellow bird was not a dark goddess, but in fact a woman who strove to be perfect, who strove to save the world, even though apparently they're mind-linked by this point, they should have known.
Yeah,
September 11th,
whatever.
the day that changed everyone's lives forever, the worst tragedy to hit the States ever. A day we shall never forget. Oh gosh. This is... Okay, the author... definitely dragged this out a little too long.
Yeah.
Now, 5 years later, I think even writing the first paragraph was a little too long, in my opinion. 5 years later, it still hasn't been forgotten. On this day, Raven would get a wild look in her eyes, and Robin would have to soothe her back to her usual control. They would sit and watch a recording of the Twin Towers being hit, reminding themselves of the reason they fight for justice. September 11th. Don't forget what happened that day. The Teen Titans sure won't.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
because we always do what the Teen Titans do.
Yeah.
It's our
They are the
moral
heroes
compass.
They are the heroes we should aspire to be like, Clemens, where we could have done something, but we don't. You know? There were two reasons for this story. One, I wanted to remind every American of what happened, even though some of you might not care. Not saying you don't, just saying you might. It's one of these stories. Great. Second, I wanted to show that this affected even the strongest of people. Yes, Raven was very OOC. I know that. No, she
Was she?
wasn't. I mean...
So in the
No,
real
because-
show, she wouldn't want to help people that are dying?
She would want to help people, and Raven feels emotion. She just usually keeps things, like, she has to suppress a lot of it just because of the way her powers are. It's not like she doesn't give a shit, though. I think Raven would be genuinely upset. Whatever. Please don't forget 9/11. There are soldiers still fighting in Iraq for what happened, and someone who graduated from my school died because of it. Please, don't let their efforts be in vain. Dedicated, oh great, to those who died in the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the crash plane in Pennsylvania. To the soldiers fighting in Iraq for this reason. To anyone who cares and wishes that it never happened. I know I do. Americans, please don't forget.
Please don't forget, people of the internet, to not write fanfics about 9/11.
Yeah, this is your yearly PSA to not do this. The comment section is wild. There's some people who love this and some people who say it's like are calling out how just insensitive and bad it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to read these. They're pretty intense.
Yeah, they're too hard-hitting, some of them.
So
Yeah, but there's a nice 7-year gap between 2009 and 2016. So in 2016, Robin and Raven came back and say, "I'll never forget that day," showing that Robin and Raven merged into one person.
They did.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so I have strong opinions on this, but what do you guys have to say first?
Apart from being tasteless, I think it's fair to say that Robin was a total dick in this.
Yeah.
I don't get the whole logic of we can't help the people even though we're superheroes, and we could help the firefighters who are actively dying from smoke poisoning.
Yeah. And it's like if you've seen the Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, like after the Gotham City is flooded, spoiler alert, you see him just helping people out. He's not doing big superhero stuff. He's just doing basic shit. And like,
I mean, why
that's
wouldn't
a cool
you?
guy.
Just because you're a superhero doesn't mean, like, do you feel above, things as, like, helping people out of the rubble and stuff? Do you not want to be seen with the common firefighter?
Yeah,
What's
especially
wrong with
since,
you,
and
man?
also, Raven is absurdly powerful. Like, she could have helped a lot of people. She wouldn't have been able to save all of them, but she would have been able to help a lot of people. But yeah, apparently they're not doing anything.
We couldn't directly, we couldn't stop the towers from falling over, so that means we you literally can't do anything about this. We're just gonna turn the news channel on and sip tea.
Yeah.
While people are
Clemens, do you have
risking
any
their
thoughts?
lives to help the survivors.
Yeah.
It was pretty tasteless, and again, like, the fanfiction writers just love clueless people learning about 9/11, even if it's just as it happens.
Yeah. So, I will say one positive thing about this story. Just one. As someone who was a child during 9/11, I was in grade school during the time. I didn't really know all that was going on, but from like what I was around with other people, what people experienced, it was an event that made people feel very small and very unsafe, because it's one of those things like in American culture we're like, oh, this couldn't happen here, you know? So I think it's actually what the author did in using Raven here as this character who has this absurdly strong powers, who feels small, like she can't help people. That actually kind of works. But the thing is, like we all said already, they could have done more to help. They could have done something, even if it's not like stopping the plane.
You could have had them help, and then either Raven gets too emotional and that causes her to not be as effective as she wants to be, or even though they do help people, she's still upset that she didn't prevent the towers from falling in the first place. Like, she thinks what she did is not enough, and then Robin has to remind her that they did their best and that is good enough.
Yeah. But here's the thing also. I can see the other side of this as someone saying, it would be disrespectful for us to say, oh, the superheroes helped out, when there are people today, people who died helping out, and there are people who are suffering with grievous illnesses because of their involvement in trying to help and save people. They might say that was tasteless also, to which I would say, well, if you can't make it make sense, maybe you shouldn't write it.
Yeah, I mean, the other option that this author chose was have the superheroes be there and not do anything, which is also kind of disrespectful, like to show them, like, not helping the people actually doing the work. I don't know if that's even better. Like, at that point, if those are your two options, just don't write the story, maybe.
Yeah, if you have no good options to do this with, don't write it. You know? Because again, the author, they don't make a lot of spelling errors. The story is readable. It makes sense. They could have written something else that was better than this, and something that was less tasteless than this, and not having to do with 9/11 like this.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bummed out right now. Usually I feel good after a story. So, well, guys, even though we had a lot to say about this story, don't contact the author. You know, they wrote this 18 years ago, I can't imagine they even remember writing, and they probably wouldn't feel good if we were to call them out directly. So obviously don't do that. And check us out on Discord.
Yeah, we also have a request form. If you find any bad fanfics that might be good for us to cover, you can put them there, or even movies or other forms of bad media.
Yeah.
And remember, if you do not like, do not read.
Later.
Bye.